Hey guys, just two quick things before we get to today's episode. First of all, if you are in the Central Ohio area, or more specifically in the Granville, Ohio area, we wanted to let you know that the Next Man Up is coming to Spring Hills Baptist Church on Sunday, November 11th. It's in the evening, and we're going to be doing a talk about raising men. What are the ingredients that our boys need? And so if you're available and interested, we'd love to see you there and have you come on out and be with us. You can find more information on our website, thenextmanup.com/events. The second thing is, because of work schedule and travel schedule, Alon and I were not able to be together when we recorded this episode. So we had to do it a bit remotely, which means the technology, the sound quality isn't quite as good as what we prefer. But hopefully you'll give us a pass on that and enjoy the content. So without any further ado, here we go. Hey guys, I'm Mark.
I'm Alen.
And welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Well, dude, I got some good news for you. Are you ready for this?
What's that?
So we didn't we didn't get any hate mail or nasty grams from dads after our episode last week about, the sports dad stereotypes.
That's good. I'm surprised. That's good.
Either nobody listened or everybody was okay with it, or maybe found some humor in there. So I'm going to chalk that up to, like, people enjoyed the episode, they found some humor in it, and we're just going to go with that. How's that sound?
Dude, that sounds great, man. That sounds really good. No hate mail is good mail.
That's right. No, I had fun with that episode, and it was fun to do something a little bit different. And
yeah.
Here's hoping the listeners found it fun as well. As we often say, listeners, if you have any feedback in particular about that last episode, were we on the mark, were we way off, whatever, just let us know. You can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All
now,
right.
don't go like skimming through though, people. Like, okay, now I got to find something wrong with that episode. Don't do that. Don't be that guy or that gal. Don't do that.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yes. Okay, so that was last time. This time, I think I want to revisit this idea of communication. And as you know, I'm constantly capturing articles and information that pique my interest, or I think might make good for good conversation here. And one that I found recently was interesting because basically it gave some statistics on how teens today are preferring to communicate. And I don't know if you had any initial reactions or thoughts on this article as you were perusing through it, but figured we could tee this one up and just pull out our reactions, maybe our thoughts, our own experiences, and maybe some suggestions on how to navigate through this whole space of technology and particularly with an eye to communication.
Yeah, my initial reaction was like, yeah, duh. Like, like, what do we expect? The maybe most not alarming, but like wow part for me was like how much time was like lapsed between the 2012 survey and today, 2018. So I don't know if they were ready to say 2017 or 2018, but literally like 5 to 6 years later, they're saying that's where students, teenagers were more apt to have a face-to-face communication, and then like a little bit less would be, I'd rather just have like some kind of text, a message or something. Where now like it's flip-flopped. 5 to 6 years later, this article is saying students are more likely to text, and so they want to communicate behind a screen versus to talk to somebody face to face. This is their friends, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was the most wow. Like I wasn't really like, oh my gosh, you kidding me? Like as far as the stats, whether they were negative or they saw something positive or trying to put a positive spin on it. Mine was like, wow, that was only 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Like so, imagine 5 to 6 years later, with technology advancing as far as it does, as fast as it does, what kids would rather use to communicate versus texting. Now, I'm not even talking face-to-face. Now we're talking like, okay, texting was the way to go, or a message was the way to go. I mean, I hope they don't do something like start linking our brains together. Although I did read an article about that. I'm one of those guys, man. I was reading an article about that. They were like finding a way to link 3 brains. I wasn't sure if they actually did or didn't, but whatever. I hope it doesn't go over there. Or, maybe we'll revert back to communicating face-to-face again. I don't know. Who knows? But it doesn't surprise me.
So I should apologize. I jumped right in without really bringing our listeners with us. So the article was a Wall Street Journal article entitled "Most Teens Prefer to Chat Online Than in Person," and basically it's a summarization of a study done by Common Sense Media about preferences for teens, and in particular technology use, social media use, different things like that. And the exact stats that you're referencing, Alen, are in 2012 the most preferred means of communication among teens was face-to-face at 49%. And that preference has gone from 49% down to 33% just in 6 years. With the 2018 study, it's dropped a bunch. Meanwhile, the preference for texting has gone from like 32% to 35%. So now what this study is saying is that teens prefer, by a margin of 35% to 33%, they prefer to text versus in-person communication. And boy, that's a significant, like you were saying, that's a significant change in a relatively short period of time.
Yes. I mean, like, how long has texting been out, let alone smartphone? I mean, we're talking, what? I shouldn't even ask that question. That's probably the wrong question to ask. But where it became normal for someone just to text instead of just pick up the phone and call you or be face to face.
Yeah.
It's well in the span of like time. It's relatively been a short time, And so I would expect that as technology advances and becomes more widespread and used and faster and just better improved, we're going to see this with our kids. My thing is this: I think that the normal thing for people to do is to fear the unknown. So honestly, I do this in ways too. And I've been trying to, I think it's good when we catch ourselves, in this. But what I'm saying is, we don't know where technology is going. We don't understand technology. We don't, you know what I mean? We're not acquainted with it. And so we fear it. And then when it comes to our kids being about it, we fear it. Now, look, I'm not saying we should just throw off all chains, throw our kids into the pool of technology with no swim buddies or life jacket, preserver, whatever you want to call it. What I'm saying is that we should somehow learn to embrace it. Yeah. And then help our kids manage it. So in the case of communication, all right, so kids are right now more so wanting to text than face-to-face. They're not communicating. It means that we need to help them learn how to communicate in a way that they feel is the fastest, best way for them to communicate. You know what I mean? And there is something to be said about losing the art of, talking to someone face to face. Like my son, son, like I think he was like talking to me, like texting me out of the blue. And there was no like, hey dad, like I'm used to like, there's a greeting.
Right.
And then
Right.
there's like a question or like a statement. And then there's like an ending, a goodbye. It was more like, he come pick me up. Like, well, son, hi, how are you? I haven't talked to you since this morning.
Right.
And so there is this art. There is a loss. I think there is a loss of the art of communication. But I think it's up to us parents to say, you know what? Whether you're face to face, whether you're texting, whatever, like I can help you learn how to communicate well, so that people understand you. Even though like it's in a different way, so that people understand you, get your points across, you're able to catch what people are like, throwing at you, and you're able to pitch correctly towards people who are wanting to catch something from you, and so like we just need to adapt and learn, and that's the positive spin. That's the positive, like, I don't think that we should just throw out technology completely. I don't think that we need to keep our kids away from technology completely. I do think that we need to help them manage it and learn to use it in positive ways.
Yeah, I think that's right. Although I will admit to erring on maybe more of the conservative side of the spectrum with this, just maybe feeling old, maybe longing for old school. But I worry about what communication is going to look like in the future. If people are so accustomed to indirect and digital type of communication, what's going to happen to the face-to-face? So that's kind of where my mind goes. At the same time, I recognize that we are in a world where technology is fully integrated into everything that we do. And to pretend that it's not, or to attempt to avoid it altogether, I don't think that's helpful either. Now, I won't go as far as an article I read the other day about that being consistent with abusing your child. I think that's a bit of an extreme. Right, yeah. So maybe we can tee that one up at some point. But the author there was saying that, screen time should be integrated in everything we do, and we shouldn't fear it. And so, as a parent navigating through that, I agree that we need to meet technology where it is, but with some caution. I think that's where I lie. Like it's not just, oh, this is great, let's dive in head first without really thinking it through.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And there are things that I think that we can, okay, so, because we're talking about communication. This article, seemed to really spearhead communication, although it did talk about, some side effects to teens, with, kind of feeling like they were addicted to their smartphones. Yeah. Wouldn't give it up. It was other things that you would think I think a teen would probably do this instead of having a smartphone. It was no, the most important thing in their life is a smartphone. Right. And we talk about that in a second, but as far as communication comes through, I think that there should be a both and. There should be this. Let's not lose the art of talking to somebody face to face. This is why I'm such a big advocate of family dinners or family get-togethers or having my kids have friends sleep over, doing something where it's in a group. Where this conversation, all this is for conversation. All this for that to see my kids be able to hold a conversation with somebody else, and know how to communicate well and receive well, And so I think there's there needs to be that, but it also should be let's look at this thing called technology together, and let's figure out ways on how we can use this thing called technology for our best. You feel me? And you know what I'm saying? This, we have it needs to be seen as a tool like instead of it owning us,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, I think that's becoming like almost like less and less of a priority as the generations go on with technology. I'm gonna push it, and I push it with my kids. I don't think it shouldn't be that you should be glued to your phone, and sometimes, again, because of the way we communicate using the phone, like you're holding like 3 different conversations. But
Right.
like I taught my kids, like I'm like I if I'm texting somebody and they go in to talk to me, like I'm pausing the text and I'm talking to them. Why? Because I want them to see the value of the face to face. Like it's important. Communication is important, and you shouldn't feel that I'm ignoring you when I'm texting, or if I'm sending back an email, or I'm replying on a messenger like Facebook Messenger or something like that. I will pause and I'm like, let me talk to you. Or I would say, if it's something that I'm like deeply in, I'd say, hey, you know what? I'm in a conversation, and I don't say text. I say I'm in a conversation right now with somebody, but let me just finish this sentence and I'll get right to you. Because I feel it's weird when you're talking to somebody and you're texting somebody else. You're in 2 different conversations. You wouldn't
That's
do
right.
that if the person was face to face with you.
That's right.
You wouldn't like have 2 different conversations, or at least I wouldn't. I would find it to be weird. You know, like I get lost. I want to give that person my full undivided attention. I remember at a youth group service, a young lady came up to me and she said, one of her students, she said, Alon, I feel like every time you talk to me, you give me your full undivided attention. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I watched you like tell other people to hold on. And then even the ones that come up and stand right next to you because they want your attention right then and there, you wouldn't even look at them because you were talking to me. And I was like, well, I just feel like one conversation should be had at a time. Like if you were wanting me, you felt like it was something important to talk to me about, I want you to know that I feel it's important too. And so that's why I do that with texting and when I'm talking to someone at the same time. You know, like I'll just be like, look, I'll pause this texting, or can you hold on 1 second and let me finish this last sentence on this text, and then I'll get with you and I'll give you my undivided attention. We have to teach our kids the art of that.
Yeah.
And the importance of that. And if they don't see the importance of it, like they're not gonna do it. But when you teach them the importance and why it's so good, like they'll latch on to that most of the time, you know?
Yeah, what I hear you saying, without using the word, is teaching our kids communication etiquette. And whether it's in person or email or text or video or old school, like old school, where you're actually writing a card or a letter or something, there's etiquette involved. And while there's convenience in a lot of the modern communication tools like texting or social media messenger type of apps, there's still an etiquette. And it's having one conversation at a time. It's having a conversation with the person in front of you, quote unquote, and finishing that before you move on to the next one, or pausing that in order to move on to the next one when it's appropriate. But I feel like what you're saying resonates, and that is we need to teach our kids, regardless of the medium, the means to communicate well with others.
Yeah, man. It doesn't have to get thrown out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just because it's not the way that we as parents used to do it or still do it. You know what I mean? Like it's a new generation. And you know what? Guess what? 10, 15 years from now, it's going to change again. You know? Like, I mean, like they don't even, I used to love writing in cursive. I used to love writing my raps in
What's
cursive.
that? I don't remember that.
My daughter's like, cursive, what's that? Like, you know what I mean? It's different, but still, like, teaching the beauty and the essence of words doesn't have to be lost.
Yeah.
So in this case, the communication, you're right, man, like, it does not have to be lost. We can teach that, and it'll pass on.
Yeah. No, I like that. And like I said, I tend to err on the side of more conservative. I'm not an early adopter of technology. The one thing I will say, though, is I think there's still there's extreme value in communicating with somebody face to face and
Oh yeah.
prioritizing that face to face communication over other means.
Yeah.
I could give you a couple of examples from my past, but just one quick story. Back in the corporate days, I used to work with people mostly remotely. And we didn't travel to other locations, so I was talking to them on the phone a lot. I never saw what their face looked like. We didn't interact in person because we were in different locations. And then the company invested in video phone technology, and so I had the ability to see them through a video call at my desk through the phone. And
Yeah.
I was one of few, admittedly, but I was excited to have that feature because I felt like it brought the communication a little bit closer. Not only could I see the person, but I could actually make eye contact with the person. And given the situation, it was the best that we could do. But boy, I found it really beneficial because there's just so much that happens in the face-to-face interaction.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, even now, like, I feel weird not being in the studio with you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a disconnect, and we lose certain things that if I was there, like cues and such that would like make our talk together be smoother. And it's the same face to face. I mean, I would even venture to say that like actual physical face to face is for me the ultimate. Like, I like, you know, when I travel, I FaceTime home and stuff. I would rather have my wife there in front of me, so I could see her and I can like pick up on things from her. There's things that are said without even saying a word.
That's right.
Versus like face to face, and my kids as well. You know, and dude, that's the part where I go, yeah, you know, there is like a sort of like, you know, sailing off into the sunset moment here. Because if we continue on the trend that we have, we're going to have less face-to-face conversations.
Yeah.
And our kids will have less face-to-face conversations. And to the point where I'm not trying to be all nuclear with it, but like there could come a point where, you know, we just don't talk face to face.
Yeah.
We could be standing. I remember in a youth service where these two girls were sitting next to each other and they were texting one another.
Yep.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like there could come a day when that becomes like the norm for everybody. And it's sad to say, I hate for it to happen, because I agree with you. The face-to-face like conversation, oh man, there's such greatness in it, and I hate to lose that quality, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think maybe my message is using your words, just challenging my kids to press into that face-to-face opportunity, and not just take the easy way out or the most convenient way, but look for the best way. And sometimes the best way is shoot it off an email or fire off a quick text so you can have multiple conversations going at once. But boy, if we lose the art and the benefit of the face-to-face conversation, then I think we as a culture, as a society, as a people, we lose a lot.
Oh, we lose a piece of our humanity, man. Like I think, you feel me? Like I honestly believe that we were made to have relationship, and one part of relationship that is huge is communication. You lose that. You lose the ability to communicate like in that way, face to face. Oh, a lot of things change. You can't read emotion in a text. I don't care how many emojis you give.
That's right.
or how many pictures you send along with it to try to emphasize what you're trying to say. Like it's, man, face to face, the voice, the facial cues, the body language, it all speaks. And when they're working all together, it's a beautiful thing, man.
It is. That's right.
Beautiful thing.
That's right. Yeah. That's good. That's good. It's good advice.
Yeah. So parents, if you're listening, and I know this is next man up, so I know there probably more dads and moms listening, but fight on. like, fight to have your kids face to face. One hand hold technology and the other hand hold face to face. It's like, just fight on.
Yeah. Engage them where they are, but set the bar higher, right? Call them to better, not just the good or to the current. That'd be my challenge to me, my continual challenge as well as my challenge to others.
And I think, and I like to add to that, like, I think one way that we can challenge our kids is by showing our kids. We were poking fun last week about the dad who's always on his phone,
right,
at a game or something like that. I took shots at myself too.
Yep.
I can do that. And I'm not talking about holding the phone like you're taking a video. I'm talking about clearly just not there in the moment.
Yep.
And somewhere else on the line. But from putting our phones down when our kids come to talk to us by limiting our screen time, by letting them know, like, what they have to say is important to us by the way that we speak to them and by the way that we give them our attention.
Yeah.
Like, I say, Dash, I challenge us to step up our game. And when we do, or if you're already stepping up, that's great. Just keep going in your game. Because as our kids see us, like, it's going to encourage them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
that's good. No, that's good. You're right on. We need to model it. We need to show them how to do it and show them that we are doing it as well. And and just invite them into better space as a result.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
It's good.
All right.
Well, listeners, I'll put the article and the study on the show notes in case you're interested. There's some other tidbits in there that you might find interesting or beneficial for you as a parent of a teen.
Very good.
Anyway, I think we teased out this idea of communication, and as always, brother, I appreciate your insight and your wisdom and your experience. You're always right on.
Oh, yours too, man. Rice and beans, buddy. We're a great team.
All right. Until next time.
Yeah, we'll catch you later. Bye.
All right. Adios. Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.